Hey everybody, thank you for joining me for the Thursday edition of Live Meditations. So thank you very much for joining me, welcome. So I actually wanted to follow on from the theme on Tuesday when I talked about how unprepared I feel, and I didn't want to show up because I felt really unprepared and therefore I have nothing to offer if I'm not prepared, but that's just not true. And today is a continuation of that. We've got an aversion, we've got a fear of the unknown, we have a fear of anxiety, we have a fear of uncertainty, and there's often a lot of anxiety attached to it. There's a lot of, when we don't know something, we can shy away from it because we're afraid we'll make mistakes, we're afraid we'll get it wrong. We just want to get it right. We're uncomfortable with uncertainty. We're uncomfortable with not knowing the answers. So what I thought I'll do today in this meditation is I'll actually help us become more present in the face of uncertainty, which is the time we're facing now. The reason is we can only meet uncertainty and deal with it if we're fully present. If we slip back to the past, where it's history, it doesn't do anything anymore. The history is history, the history has passed. And the future, in all our projections, our mental projections of what it could be or what it can look like, it's bound to bring about a lot of anxiety because you don't know which way it's going to play out. Or when we're not present, we meet the future event when it comes to pass. We meet the future event in the way that our mind projected it to be, as opposed to meeting it as it is. So I think it's important that we face uncertainty and we face the unknown by being present. So if you'd like to join me, I'd love to lead you on a meditation today where it allows you to stay present in the face of uncertainty, which I believe is the time that we're in right now. We're deep in the woods and we're not out of the woods yet. We still haven't seen the light, but we're deep in the woods. We still don't know what's going on. And the best thing we can do right now is say, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to play out. I just trust that it will play out one day because all things come to pass. All things are impermanent. All things, even I read an article earlier today. Time magazine interviewed Dalai Lama, and he talks about how from Buddhist perspective, he believes in impermanence and all things come to pass. And wars, famines, atrocities, these things happen, but nothing lasts forever. So having an impermanent attitude helps, trusting that all things will pass in its own time without forcing it to finish or wrap up before its time, but just being with it, staying present in the moment, and watching it as the whole events unfold, and eventually it will go away because this too shall pass. It will go away, but it will go away in its own time, not when we demand it go away. So let's meditate together on uncertainty if you'd like to join me on this meditation. So let's begin by closing our eyes. Finding yourself a comfortable seat in a seated position, whether your legs want to be flowing down, whether you want to be cross-legged, just making sure that you are comfortable in a seated position. Your back is supported, your eyes are closed, and just connecting to your breath. Breathing in your own time and breathing out in your own time. Connecting to your breath as a breath of life, nectar of life, the supporter of your life. Your friend who has always supported you from the moment you've arrived on this earth. Using your breath to nourish you and support you on this meditation. As you settle into your breath, maybe noticing the quality of breath that you're taking today. Is it more shallow than normal? Or is it deep breaths, deep belly breaths? What kind of quality is your breath today? What texture does it have today? Just watching your breath and continuing to breathe like you normally would, without trying to change it or force it or redirect it in any kind of way. And when you're ready, you may want to expand your awareness to the thoughts that are passing through your mind. Allowing yourself to be an observer, watching those thoughts come and go as you drive past memory lane. Maybe those thoughts belong to the past. Maybe those thoughts belong to the future. Just allowing yourself to watch those thoughts without identifying with them, without getting wrapped up in them, without getting consumed by them. Just allowing yourself to be that watchful observer, watching those thoughts without getting immersed in them. If it helps, you may want to watch those thoughts and say things like, hello thought, bye-bye thought. Allowing yourself to look at them and then releasing them back into the ethers. Now, when you're ready, you may want to see if you can, the best that you can. You may want to bring out something that you feel uncertain about. Something that brings a little bit of discomfort that you may not want to face. You may have an aversion to facing. Something that you'd rather run away from. see if you want to bring up something uncertain that you feel it's uncomfortable, you feel discomfort. See if you can bring up something in your mind right now that has a discomfort level of about a 3 or 4 maximum. Something that brings mild discomfort as opposed to extreme discomfort, because we don't want you to be overwhelmed in this meditation. Going through your mind now, selecting the archive of events that you feel uncertain about, and that brings a mild to moderate level of discomfort. Selecting that thought and holding that thought in your mind now. You may begin to use that watchfulness and observe what it is about that thought, that event, that aspect of uncertainty that you feel uncomfortable about. Maybe it's a lack of control, loss of control. Maybe it's a lack of predictability that makes you feel very uncomfortable. Just going through your mind and try to understand what it is about this aspect of uncertainty that makes you feel very uncomfortable. Maybe it's not knowing what's going to happen in the future. Maybe it's a sense of helplessness, not being able to control or direct where you want to be going in your life. Or maybe it's this expectation that you ought to know. You feel discomfort because you ought to know all the answers, or at least that's what you tell yourself. Maybe it's something else. You're spending some time here just hanging out with this slightly to moderately uncomfortable thought. What is it about uncertainty that you feel most discomfort about? Knowing that whenever you feel uncomfortable, you feel too uncomfortable, please know that you have an option to back off at any time. If it becomes too much, just let that thought go, release that thought. Thoughts are just thoughts. Allow yourself to release them and connect yourself back to your breath. If it becomes too much, knowing that your breath can hold you and comfort you, and that you can always connect back to the sound of the breath, or the sound of your heartbeat to help yourself calm down. if you're comfortable with it, and if you want to keep contemplating what it is about uncertainty that you feel most uncomfortable about, you may want to examine the emotions that come up for you as well. Maybe it's a sense of anger. Maybe it's a sense of frustration. Maybe it's a sense of grief, sadness, hopelessness, helplessness. Maybe it's something else. Taking a moment to examine what kind of emotions come up for you when you think about uncertainty. Emotions comes in layers, and it is said that with every hard emotion, behind every hard emotion, there are softer emotions underlying that. So maybe behind the anger, there's great sadness. Behind the frustration, there's grief or mourning. Maybe it's mourning the loss of freedom. Maybe it's sadness of not knowing if you can keep your family safe or to provide for your family. This unknown of not knowing what will happen tomorrow. Maybe it's around not being able to protect your family, provide for them, or something else. What are the softer feelings behind these hard emotions that you're feeling right now? When it becomes too much, knowing that you can always connect back to your breath. Allowing your breath to nurture you, to support you. Knowing that your breath can carry you as you feel the difficult emotions that you feel right now. Allowing yourself to breathe through it and breathe through those difficult emotions as you face those emotions that arise for you. Using your breath as a way to comfort you, to ease through your pain or any of the discomfort that you feel right now. Allowing yourself to breathe through it as opposed to holding your breath. Or you suddenly stop breathing or that you have a shallow breath. Just reconnecting yourself to your breath, allowing yourself to use your breath to carry you as you feel the discomfort that you feel right now. And if highly charged emotions come up, please know that you can always pull the plug and you don't have to do this exercise at all. You can feel free to put it down if it becomes too much. And know that you can drop that thought, put down that emotion, and just come back to your breath if it becomes too much or if it becomes overwhelming. And if you're still holding the breath, if you're still holding the thought, this uncomfortable thought around uncertainty, maybe you'd want to examine what it means to you. Sometimes discomfort arises because of what it means to us. Maybe uncertainty means that we can't provide for our family, or we're uncertain if we can still provide for our family in the near future. Maybe it means we cannot keep our family safe despite our best efforts. Maybe it means something more personal, and we take it personally, and it becomes an inadequacy that we view on ourselves. We think of ourselves as inadequate because we're unable to provide for our family, or that we don't know for certain that we can keep our family safe. Maybe this uncertainty brings up other feelings for you, because uncertainty for you means loss of freedom, perhaps. The loss of doing whatever you want, whenever you want. The loss of freedom to go traveling when you want. Or maybe it means something else. If you're still comfortable with this idea of holding on to uncomfortable thoughts, the uncomfort or the discomfort around uncertainty, you may wish to examine what it means to you. What is it about uncertainty? And what does that mean to you? Maybe it's grief, maybe it's sadness, maybe it's helplessness or hopelessness of not being able to do and help the situation, or mourning that our leaders are not doing enough, are not seen as doing enough. Or the idea that what can I possibly do to help the situation, this global situation? What does uncertainty mean to you? Once again, allow yourself to breathe through the discomfort, trying the best that you can to not run away from it, the best that you can to look at it with strength and courage, without running away, flinching away, without merely putting labels on it and then think that you understand it at the full level when it's only just labels. Allowing yourself to meet it for what it is, without trying to change it or fix it or wish that it go away or that you be rescued from the situation. Just allowing yourself to be with the uncertainty and everything that it represents. Continuing to breathe through it. Continue to breathe through the uncomfortable feelings as they arise, as opposed to having an aversion to it, as opposed to avoiding it. Allowing yourself to breathe through it, the best that you can. And when you're ready, you may wish to think about what it is about the situation, about this uncertainty, that you can let go of. If it's not the real full thing, if it's not the full thing, perhaps releasing parts of it, aspects of it, bits of it, that you can release in this very moment. Maybe it's mourning and letting go of not having your morning coffee anymore from the local barista that you always buy from. Maybe it's mourning your work desk. Maybe it's mourning not having a morning chat or a tea break with your co-workers. Maybe it's mourning something else. Taking a moment now to release, let go of what you're ready to let go. Maybe it's expectations about what uncertainty represents to you. Maybe it's letting go of control. Or this idea that you have in your head that people are meant to have it together. Or people's lives are meant to be in control all the time. Maybe it's an expectation that you have on yourself. That you're meant to have everything figured out all the time. Or this expectation that you're meant to always curate this best version of yourself to let everyone see around you, and you have to be perfect. Just allowing yourself to connect to aspects of uncertainty that you're ready to let go of. And then releasing them and letting them go with a big sigh. Perhaps mentally visualizing that you're dropping a big weight, maybe a big luggage that you're finally putting on the floor as you keep walking your journey. Or maybe it's something that you want to toss overboard. Imagining that you're on a boat and you're tossing this luggage overboard into the deep sea where you'll never see it again. Finding the right imagery that works for you. Maybe it's weight, literal weights on your shoulders, and visualizing them being taken off your shoulders, or maybe you take them off the shoulders. Allowing yourself to release and let go of aspects that you're ready to release and let go of today. It doesn't have to be the whole thing. It doesn't have to be the full thing. But just aspects of uncertainty that you are holding on to that you no longer need. And choosing to put it down, let it go, flush it down the toilet if that is a mental image that serves you. Choosing the right image for you to release and let go of all that mental burden that no longer serves you. Once again, using your breath as support. Using your breath to support you as you let everything go. And you release aspects of uncertainty that made you uncomfortable before, but you're ready to let it go. Now, when you're ready, you may wish to bring your awareness back into this room, to connect back to my voice, connect back to your breath. With your eyes still closed, you may wish to take a more active breath now. Filling up your body, to bring your awareness back into this room, back into this body, back to right here and right now. With your eyes still closed, maybe you want to tune in to sounds around the room or even outside the room right now. Maybe it's the sound of the clock ticking. Maybe it's the sound of your neighbors doing their chores. Maybe it's the sound of birds chirping outside. Just taking a few moments to gather your attention and your awareness back into this room now. And when you're ready, you may want to stretch out with your eyes still closed. Introduce a bit more movement back into your body. Maybe it's rolling the shoulders. Maybe it's shuffling on the seat. Maybe it's stretching your arms up into the air as you bring your awareness back into this room. And when you're ready, you may slowly begin to open your eyes. How is that, everybody? How do you feel? Thank you for spending your Thursday afternoon with me. Thank you for meditating with me. As always, thank you for your time, and I honor your time. And until next time, thank you for joining me. Namaste.